Hello and welcome back to Joe's Math Tools. In our session today, we will be solving a two-step equation when we're using addition and multiplication. And if you're ready, let's get started. So when solving your two-step equation, remember that your main goal is always to get your unknown variable, which in this case is b, on one side of the equation by itself. So we're going to begin by collecting our like terms. And remember, since we need to get b by itself, the first thing we need to do is to move the constant that is not attached to a variable, which is our negative 10 or our minus 10. And remember that in looking at your operation sign, since 10 is being subtracted on the left hand side, that means that when we move 10 over to the right hand side, we will be adding 10 to 14. So now that we've added 10 to 14, we're now going to simplify the right hand side of our equation. And when 10 is added to 14, that will give us 24. So now we're going to move into our next step. Remember that when we have b over 6 simply means that b is being divided by 6. And since we are using division here, we're now going to use our second step of our two-step equation, which is we will be multiplying now our 6 to our 24. And once we have multiplied our 6 to our 24, this will give us the solution of 144. So our b is equal to 144. And remember, as always, after solving your equation, we're now going to move into our second step, which is to check our answer to verify whether b equals to 144 is indeed the correct solution for our equation. So we will be substituting b for 144 everywhere that it appears in our equation. And then we're going to go through the same steps that we did earlier in solving the equation to also check our answer. So again, we're going to use our 144. And we're now going to be adding 14 to our 10. And we have 144 being divided by 6, which is equal to our 24. And again, we're going to do our last step, where we will be multiplying our 24 times 6. And remember that we worked this part out a bit earlier in our question. And we saw that when 24 is multiplied to 6, that is equal to 144. So that means that our solution for B is correct. And remember that when you're working with these type of questions where fractions are involved, this is only one of the approaches that you can take. You can also simplify the fraction first and then solve the equation from there, and I'll show you that in the next step. Or even if you want to, you could find the LCD of your fraction and then converted your fractions to its like terms and check your answer using that approach. So remember that with fractions, there is multiple ways that you could have approached this one question, but this is just one method that I use. Okay, so now we're going to solve a second equation. And remember to feel free to pause the video, work out the question for yourself. Then when you've gotten your solution, you can unpause the video, watch me solve the same equation, and see if you and I both got the exact same answer. Okay, so remember that in solving this equation, our first step that we're going to use will be to add our constant 1 on the right hand side of our equation to 7. So now we found out that when 7 is added to 1, that will equal to 8. And that completes our first of our one-step equation. Now we're going to move into our second two-step equation, where we will be multiplying our constant 8 by 4. And when 8 is multiplied to 4, that would equal to 32. Okay, so now that we have solved and found out that 8 is equal to 4, we're now going to check our solution to make sure that the answer that we got is correct. So we said that 8 is equal to 32. So we're going to substitute 32 everywhere that appears in the equation. And I'm going to take a different approach to solve this equation. I'm now going to simplify the fraction first. Remember that 32 quarts means that 32 is being divided by 4, which is equal to 8. And when 8 subtracts 1, that is equal to 7. And since both sides of our equation is equal to 7, that means our solution of W equals 32 is indeed the correct answer for our equation. Okay, so I hope this was very helpful to you. I hope that you saw how to solve a two-step equation and how easy it is to solve a two-step equation when fractions are involved. Remember to just apply your one-step equation that applies to the steps that you are working out. Take it one step at a time, and then after you've solved your equation, just check your answer to verify whether it was correct or not. Okay, so I hope this helped you. I hope you are ready to attempt more questions in this format. And when you are ready, make sure that you return back to Jules Math Tools, where we make math easy.